Hi, Brandon.
Hey, Kat.
So you're going to take me today through kind of cleaning up a machine at the end of the day.
We are done with our shift. We're going home. Yay.
Woohoo!
Time where everyone cleans and doesn't clean and leaves early, you know.
Okay.
We are going to talk about cleaning a machine.
All right.
Cleaning an espresso machine, how to shut it down or close it down at the end of the day to benefit your machine maintenance as much as you can.
Okay.
We're using an Aurelia today. Doesn't matter which machine you're using, basically. Same any traditional machine, these principles are all going to apply. We are going to start off with a back flush. It's the number one thing you can do as a cafe owner, as a machine owner, to prevent service calls, to keep your machine actually up and running. If you don't do anything else, you got to back flush.
Okay, that's a bare minimum.
That's bare minimum.
Okay. And what does back flushing do?
Okay, so back flushing is a detergent.
Okay.
What we're doing is all day long you've been making espresso, you've been running oils and just gunk up inside of your group head into your solenoid. We are trying to clean that.
Okay.
So if you don't clean that, all that stuff up there eventually is going to seize it up. It's going to stop. You're going to have a solenoid that goes out or other problems. So right now, this is a very, very inexpensive way of saving yourself a couple $100 every time a service tech shows up to fix it.
Okay. All right. So that's the bare minimum. So let's start there. So what's my process?
All right. So end of the day, we've got two basic processes. Some of your higher end machines have a auto back flush, so it actually does it for you.
Okay.
Except you have to put powder in still. If you don't have that function, you can do it manually. It's no big deal. You just have to stand there hitting the buttons.
Okay.
So first process, we have our detergent. We're using Full Circle today. You've got Cafesa. There's a lot of different ones. No big deal. Everyone's seen these. They come with your machine. Half the people don't have them anymore. You got to make sure you've got these. This is a very important part.
Is this a puck, a coffee puck?
I don't have it with me. Some have a little black rubber stopper that goes inside of it as well. These are a lot better.
That just cover up the traditional basket.
No, it doesn't do that. A lot of people use it that way.
Okay.
And that's why they have a big leak that goes through. If you'll notice, it has a little tiny peg on the bottom of it. What you do is you put it in here. So now you put it there, and then you put your basket
over
back on it, and now it won't float and you won't leak.
Got it.
However, this is still a much nicer way of doing it.
Okay.
So, blind filter is what it's called. It doesn't let any water through. What that's going to do, as I put it in there, it's not going to let any water come through here, and now we're going to back flush. We're going to push that water straight up.
Okay.
Okay. So, a couple different fancy little tools you could use.
The coffee tool.
Yep, you could use that. Could also just be lazy like me and just do this.
We should be doing best practice here, baby.
Best practice. I'm going to use this. What we're looking for, I always call it about the size of a dime.
Okay.
I mean, not a lot at all. Just a very little bit to get in there because it's all going to push it through. We're going to be doing it basically 5 times.
Okay.
Okay. So from there, just like that, we're going to take it up, put it in. Hopefully your gaskets don't leak. Otherwise, this gets to be messy. All we're going to do is we're going to turn this on. We're going to let it run for 10 seconds.
Okay.
We're going to do that 5 times.
Got it.
Okay. So we're just going to hit it. 1. That's 10. Hear all that gurgling? So that is the 3-way valve dispensing all that detergent.
Okay, so it kind of like can we take a look now? Like it's probably like a mixed solution in there, right? Yeah. Okay.
It's just like that. Now see all that nastiness? That's from the espresso I've been making all day.
Okay.
Now we're going to do this just very quickly.
Okay.
The reason you want to let it run for that 10 seconds is we want that to go all the way up. Do you hear how there's a ramp up basically? We want to make sure that gets all the way up inside of it.
Okay.
The common question people ask me on this is, what if I do it for like 20 seconds? It doesn't hurt anything. I can just let it run and run and run. Granted, don't let it run for like an hour and a half.
Okay.
But yeah,
there's some limits one must put on oneself.
Yeah. The reason we say 10 seconds, it's a nice even round number.
Okay. All right. So at the end of my shift, I'm doing that for both of the brew heads.
Both of the brew heads.
Okay. Once I've done through my final cycles, what do I do next?
So yeah, so let's go ahead and complete that. I just want to show you too. So that was after 3. Do you notice the difference between the first one and the third one?
Yeah.
That's why we're doing it 5 times.
Okay.
Okay. So now let's say we're done 5, right? We're gonna dump this out. I'm gonna run that for a second, just to get all the detergent and stuff out of there.
Okay.
Now I've got fresh water. I'm gonna run same thing 5 times, 10 seconds each.
Okay.
You can get away with a little bit less than this, but I just like to stick with even numbers. It's easy.
Okay.
So.
Cool. All right.
Same thing.
So that's the sort of bare minimum that you should do at the end of your,
This is
day.
your bare minimum. It's easy to do.
Okay.
You can see how much even just regular coffee starts coming out
Yeah.
through the rest of it. Here is the number one trick that I tell people. No one ever tells anyone this. When you are done, I already did my time. Run water through.
Okay.
And here is why. I have had more service calls from people that have back flushed and they didn't complete the full process of fresh water.
Okay.
Now this, if you leave it overnight up in that solenoid, it turns into a solid rock.
Okay.
So then you show up the next day, you hit your button, your solenoids don't work.
I guess I shouldn't laugh at people's pain. But,
No,
okay.
no, you shouldn't. Especially if it's my pain.
Oh, okay. All right. So definitely do your thorough cleansing out. Get make sure maybe like a cup or so of water afterwards. Pull that through. Just make sure it be really.
Again, the more the better. It doesn't hurt to just let it run.
Okay.
We just want to make sure that whatever is up inside of there still gets flushed out.
Okay.
Okay. Obviously, you're doing this on both group heads. For this video, we're not going to do both group heads just because time.
Yeah. So now that's my bare minimum. What is like a more intensive cleaning that I might want to do?
So the rest of this is very optional. There's a lot of people that do this. There's a lot of people that don't. It's nice to help. I'm having a little trouble getting this out of here.
Okay.
Part of the process is what I'm doing right now. There we go.
Okay.
So what we want to do, if you can actually look underneath there, there's a screen.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay? We want to actually take this out of here. Now, one thing to tell people, this is hot. It's 200 degrees, and I'm kind of bent over.
And keep your paws out of the mix.
So either that or build up high calluses.
Or get some gloves.
Or get some gloves.
So I'm leaving am I leaving that dispersion, that guy up there?
Nope. So there's nothing else up here now. Okay. You can see that's gone. This here actually is part of
that's part of the brew head itself. Okay.
So the dispersion of is right here on this machine. Okay. So now that separates out.
Okay.
Now, I probably should have done that one since we just back flushed it. But really, when you're back flushing, here's one of the bigger things. You see how you can kind of see through this a little bit, but you can still see some grime. If you don't do any back flushing, it'll start getting in those channels, and it'll start just solidifying inside those channels. Okay, so one way to counteract that is we're going to clean this as well. So now I can even just leave the screw inside.
Okay.
I'm actually going to take a little frothing pitcher, some hot water, and I'm going to drop this and that inside here.
Okay.
Okay. A little bit here. Again, don't have to be a lot. We're just going to put a little bit of this right inside of it.
Okay.
That's going to effectively do the same detergent type process. See how it's starting to just bubble? That's going to eat up most of the gunk that's inside of it.
Okay, and I could maybe do a larger bowl, throw my portafilter baskets in there too.
The baskets aren't as much of a need, but what happens will be these.
Okay.
This one's actually kind of brand new, but I'll show you here on this one because we've been using this a little bit. See the difference?
Yeah. Okay.
So yes, it will be bigger. This is something, again, you don't want to overdo this.
Okay.
So this is not something you want to do 6 times a day. I would even say once a week is fine. Some people will do this daily. If you do this too much, you'll get pitting. Okay, it'll start actually eating into it a little bit. You'll find yourself replacing portafilters a little bit more often than you need to. But yeah, same thing, bigger bucket. I was just kind of showing you for that there. Stick this in here. You've got 2 of them that you're using. Because truthfully, that right there,
wipe
that's
it down
what your
pretty.
people are drinking.
Yeah. Yum.
Yum. So if it's clean at the end of the day, it's nice. You kind of want to drink that. If it's nice and black and dirty, it's not as pleasant.
And we haven't cleaned that one at all since we've been using it. And how many shots do you think you've pulled on that guy since we've had it?
Oh, I've probably pulled, I don't know, 50, 60 shots.
Okay. So that's kind of something to think about. So, all right. So we've taken the stuff apart. Anything else I want to do to the machine? I mean, obviously you want to wipe it down really well and, make sure you're not building up grime.
The last little bit that people forget about is your little steam arm tip.
Okay.
Okay. This takes more of a beating than anything because milk is disgusting.
Yeah.
You can even see right through here, I did not clean this at all today, and it's just a little bit of white residue that's inside of there.
Okay.
Your steam arm is dependent on this. It is dependent on those 4 nozzles. It does not take a lot to clog those up.
Yeah.
So same concept, if we can take care of that, I mean, this could be more of a once a day thing.
Okay.
It's not going to hurt it as much to do that, but if we can keep that clean, I'm sure there's people that are watching this video right now that have come in, pulled the steam arm, there's no steam coming out.
Okay.
You call a service tech, he comes out, pops this out, cleans it, charges you $300 and says,
Yeah.
Fix.
Okay, so that's my clean. So now let's talk about frequency. So I know we're saying, oh, it's under our shift. We do know that there are cafes that are busy enough and have the facilities to do this more often throughout the day. So it kind of, doing this breakdown and doing back flushing is kind of dependent on how much coffee you're serving, right?
That is correct.
Okay.
So you're going to hear all sorts of different things. At a minimum, I don't care if you're doing 2 shots a day, do it daily.
Okay.
You're in a cafe, do it daily, okay? That's bare minimum. There are places though, I've heard of people doing them every 2 hours. Okay, you can actually cycle group head basically. So as opposed to doing both at the same time, maybe 10 o'clock in the morning, I shut this group head down for 5 minutes, 10 minutes or whatever, and have someone actually clean this, switch it out, and then switch to the next.
Okay.
The easy answer I always tell people when they ask how often should I clean, there's no such thing as over cleaning. No one has ever over cleaned anything you've ever owned. I promise you.
Well, okay, actually, but is there a risk of stripping the screw in the brew head by removing too often? Or
yes.
Okay.
So if you are going to take this more optional approach that I just told you of taking off your screen, I don't want to get into that gun.
Yeah.
If you're going to do this, one of the big problems you will have is you will do this. You'll get your hand on there. It won't come out.
Okay.
And you'll either strip it. Sometimes you have to actually break the screen to get it out of there. If this is something you're going to do in your cafe, buy yourself a couple extra screens and a couple extra screws.
Just to have on hand.
Have on hand. Okay. They're cheap. They're only a couple dollars. But if you get into that situation, and it happens, it just does. It happens to us all the time. We have to end up breaking the screens. We'll bend them over to actually pull it out of there.
Okay.
So have some extra screens.
Cool.
It's just good practice.
All right. So that is the care and maintenance of the Nuova Simonelli Aurelia 2. Thank you very much, Brandon.
Thanks, Kat.